Hey everyone, good afternoon. And since this is the last session of the whole conference, so hopefully everyone's having fun here and at least get inspired or learn a bit. So I'm Ophelia, so I'm very fantastic to be here. Hope everybody still have the energy for my session. I feel a little bit nervous, so I took a shot before getting on the stage. So, yeah, all right. So I'm very happy to get invited to be here. Like a few months ago, I was invited to be in AWE Asia in Singapore to also talk about this topic. And they're like asking me, so do you want to do this again in AWE USA? So I was like, yes, why not? Since I just live 40 minutes away, so it's just because I live in Los Angeles. Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about designing interfaces in a 3D reality. So why I came up with this topic is because of my career path. Like when I just started doing all the design stuff, I was a very traditional product designer doing UI UX stuff at a company called Binance. So I did a lot of like trading features, wallet features, but these are traditional 2D UI UX design. And after this, I moved to Atlanta and started working at a company called Delta Airlines. So I was responsible for adding emerging technologies to their Fly Delta app, which is the app you use to book a flight, check flight status, etc. And right now, I'm in Los Angeles working at a company called Dreamscape Learn. It's a XR educational institution, and what they've been doing is actually providing educational content, XR content, and with some Hollywood storytelling. And they have some partnership with some community college, some K-12 education institution, etc. And what I've been doing is doing UI UX in 3D reality and figure out what kind of XR interaction will be more natural, more intuitive for the users. So that's why I think about this topic, like how it's gonna be different for doing UI in between 2D and 3D reality. So for the first question I want to ask everybody, like have you ever tried to scroll a flat PDF in VR and feel like you are watching a window? If you do not understand what I'm saying, here are some really bad examples that you may see in daily lives, and you probably see this a lot. So it seems like a perfect design system if you see this in mobile app development. You see there are some sliders, scrolling lists, some flat buttons, and probably some like checklist icons stuff. This is another example. You may feel like it is very hard for user to aim their finger or aim their laser pointer to get in touch with this tiny little, probably less than 20 pixel target. And we wonder why it always feel off, like why user feel they're clumsy. And even they're in a headset with millions of pixels resolution and they still feel like they're not present. So why is this happening? And today we're gonna talk about how we're gonna fix that. And as a designer or design engineers, we think complex visual input modalities don't usually work, and we cannot expect users to read the text or focus on a really tiny little buttons, or even sometimes it's usually flat. So let's take a look of this very specific design element, which is a toggle, and we will talk about this case study. So on the left side, you will see a list of toggles that you may see in daily lives, like on iOS, material design, carbon, etc., which we see these are perfect toggles we use every day, but only in mobile app. And imagining the interaction on the left side, what we're gonna do is just rest our thumb on the glass and we do flick and it turns right, and that's how we switch on and off. I see this is a very good design because it's efficient, it's binary, and it's very low effort but high reward. That's how you switch it on and off. But in spatial environment, that becomes different story because what you have to do is aim your finger, probably do a pinch or like a poke into spatial environment or point your controller in a spatial environment, which is the object is usually smaller than 20 pixels. So that's why users sometimes fail this experience. And if you don't think that's hard enough for the user, I have another example for you, which is a slider. On the left side, you see there are different kind of slider we see in like day-to-day life. So we use the slider to adjust volume, adjust sizes, prices, etc. What you need to do is just hover your mouse on it and drag along. But on the right side, we see how a slider gonna normally look like in spatial environment. And what the user need to do is, first step, they need to lift their elbow and use 2 fingers to do a pinch or a poke onto a very small, tiny little object. And they have to just keep stable. And then the most important part is they have to drag along with the x-axis and with a steady hand and do a very super horizontal drag along with it. And sometimes the user fail this interaction and they will feel clumsy. And when the user feel clumsy, they're usually not gonna blame on the design itself because they don't understand it, but instead they're gonna blame themselves. And when the user blame themselves is the time they're gonna take off the headset because this breaks the immersion. And how are we gonna make user feel natural? Here are some very great examples that from one of my favorite design engineer called Ulrich. He usually posts these designs online. On the left one, you will see instead of a flat button, you will see actually this is a 3D object. This is my favorite design of like an ideal toggle in spatial environment. And on the right side, there are 3 buttons, but instead of flat buttons, they have RGB offsets. They also have like a pre-click state. Next example I want to talk is, yeah, this is another example I really like. So they use, instead of just a click or a punch or a pinch to those buttons, they just use 2 fingers to select, and it's a really good design of the menu bar. So what I want to say is they're really good about doing, there's like a pre-touch state, which is, as we've seen here, there's an RGB glow, and also we say this is a behavioral realism. So in real world, you sense like something VR cannot replicate it yet. For example, when you're trying to touch a coffee mug, you will feel the heat first before you actually touch the ceramics. And after this, your brain was predicting some friction and how the touch is it and the gravity, etc. So in VR, we also want to fake that sense. So we use light, shadow, and color to bridge the gap between our intent and action. We'll give the user confidence before they even make the contact. So we're asking like why it matters. Since Unity developing is so easy, we just need to copy what we designed in Figma and paste it into Unity, and why we really need to spend time to get this effort to make it happen. So this part, I want to talk about accessibility, UX, and how our biological contract is like. So here are some ergonomic study I did in another industry. So these are some car designs I sketched it out. So when people like switching mode from track mode to Grand Tour mode, the seat's gonna adjust it, their vision and upper angle, lower angle gonna adjust as well. So this is just an example what the ergonomic study is like. So how we should do research of ergonomics and comfort in VR. So I did some research and read some research papers. So the primary research results are like they list a few effects, a few factors that makes user feel uncomfortable or break their immersion, which is probably unnatural hand gestures, difficulty becoming accustomed to 3D handheld input devices, and also probably they feel their headsets is too heavy, it feels discomfort, and these are all the elements we need to take into account as a designer. So also, according to the result of some study for accessibility, approximately 2.5 individuals in the US experience visual impairment. So I also want to talk about why accessibility matters. So for example, a poke is a very easy motor skill. It's used whole arm, it's universal, it's forgiving. But instead, slide is a very fine motor skill. You need to have very steady hands. You need to drag along horizontal line. It requires tension and control. So as a designer, we are responsible for not excluding people. I wish I can have the design like my grandma can use or little kids can use. So we're making like the virtual world more accessible for all the human bodies, not just some game thumbs. And how to make user feel natural? Since we have our UX problem, like aligning the digital world with biological expectations. So our solution is, in physical world, material tells us how to interact with them. Like metal feels heavy, rubber creates friction. So in VR, we have to simulate those effects that we can feel in daily lives. Because in millions of years, our brain was designed to be evolved to feel the world by its physics. So as in UVR, we can't mimic some of the tensions that we see in real life. So instead, we need to not break the biological contract. So if we're touching a coffee mug, our brain was predicting its heat, the temperature, the friction, etc. So in VR, if our finger, our hands just go bypass of the menu, it becomes a ghost hand. It breaks our immersion, which is breaking the biological contract. And here are some examples that I really like. So for the first one, which is a floating menu, which is we usually see in our daily life. That's what I'm talking, like a floating flat menu, which is probably copy and pasted from Figma to Unity. And the second one I really like, which is related to our finger, just like the picture I showed you before. They use different kind of hand gestures, and the menu item which shows up on their finger. And the words in menu, ring menu, spin menu, which are also very common to see. And my favorite would be the last one, the look at menu, because it detects your gaze and sometimes it very follows what the user wants because they just need to staring at it. But that's need better developing skills for this interaction. And these pictures are other examples that I want to show you, like a very great design of the keyboard, a few different interactions, and a list of items, how they're gonna grab the item and put into correct position. For the third layer, I want to talk about the feedback manager connected to audio, haptics, and VFX. So what is audio, haptics, and VFX? So for the audio part, we have UI audio and also environment audio. So for UI audio, it sometimes give you feedbacks that you're actually trigger the button or the event is actually triggered. Like when you hit the button, it gives you a feedback. For the environment audio, it's more like an elevator music when it's loading or just some background music. And haptics, so imagining you're pulling the joystick or you're in a car, it's like mimicking the wind blowing in your face. So there are sometimes different kind of fans in front of you, so it feels like there's wind in your face, you're actually flying in the sky. For the VFX, probably like the buttons I just showed you, they have RGB offsets to show you some visual effects for the UI. And so think about this way. Like normally, our perceptual system sits directly between us and the physical world. So we hear and touch the reality with nothing in between. But in VR, we slip a substitution interface into the gap. The headset, controller, the system. And here's the magic. So when the substitute is good enough, our perceptual system stops noticing there's edit at all. It just simply reports that we're actually in that virtual environment. So everything connects, like honor the body expectation, deliver clean, synchronized feedback across visual, audio, haptics. And you make the environment effortlessly to make sense of, make it effortlessly to so the presence will follows, and that's the whole chain. And vision and haptics usually do different jobs. So visual feedback is what let people pinpoint where the ball hits, like the location. But haptics feedback is what made people sure that impact has actually happened at all. It's about confirming that's actually occurred, the event actually occurred and a button is truly pressed. So I think don't treat them like interchangeable. So if your interaction is about precision and the placement, you should lean on the visual better. For the next, I think as long as the VR represented with an environment, we can make sense as we interact with it. We should expect to feel at least some of the sense of presence, just like these pictures shows an example. These are from research papers. And the degree of presence felt will depend on the ease and extent in which we can make sense of the perceptual feedback by which the V is presented. So when you're going back, when you are doing some designs, just ask yourself, are you just building a website or you are building a world for the user? So as a designer, my philosophy is always design a world that user can lean on instead of they will fit in your design system. So these are what I want to share the most today, and thanks everyone for attending. Thank you.